Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ancient Voice Rising. This is Hera Dhyani, and today we are going to flip the script. I have my beautiful sister Stephanie with me, and today is my story. And so I'm going to let her lead and guide this, and we will
Yes,
go from
connecting
there.
together. Yes, connecting together. I'm so honored to be here and that you asked me to do this, to go into your story. Um, I've always been curious about near-death experiences,
Mhm.
and I actually got to speak to you right before everything happened. I was at the drum circle in Treasure Island, and the phone call dropped.
Yeah.
And then your daughter messaged me a couple of days later to let me know what was going on. I sent up prayers. I reached out to the travel group on your behalf to send those prayers your way. Yeah,
I needed
absolutely. To bring you through whatever it was that was going on. I must say, you look fabulous too, by the
them.
way. You're shining bright. Your color is so much different. You're so much brighter.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You
You're
look
welcome.
beautiful too.
Thank you. I brought the angels with me.
Yeah.
I brought some inner child fun in case we needed
Well, we've
it.
got I think we're gonna go to some inner child stuff, I
I
feel.
felt the call, so that's why I brought my Care Bears,
Yay.
in case we needed it. And just know that I'm here to be in service to you and whatever you need. If you need space held, if you need to express, feel free because the vulnerability and people need to see that from us. Just be in the now moment, and whatever comes up, and we'll go through with whatever emotions and things that come up are coming through. So
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how I want to begin this.
yeah.
I don't know if I should go back to so I was born different than my like what the
with
friends
the
that I
yeah
remember, and
with
being,
the gifts with the gifts, the strong gifts as a child.
yeah, I was
Mhm.
always in the forest building forts and playing. We had these huge rocks, these huge white rocks in our backyard, and I was always out there playing, or I was up in a tree in the front yard,
Yeah.
Um, so I remember um my mom telling me a story, and this is where um my family never spoke of spirit or ghosts or having gifts or, being able to see or communicate with spirit or anything like that. Um, and I never was comfortable in church. Even as a very small child, I would always like get up out of the pew, run to the bathroom, take the frilly little pantyhose off, take my shoes off, throw them in the trash, then run back down. And, my mom would be in the choir going, "What are you doing?" You know,
Right. You already
yeah.
had your own identity by that point, and probably didn't feel like it matched with what was internal that you felt as a child too.
I didn't. And I really picked up on like what my preacher's name was Preacher Bird. And he was a very different being. He
Mhm.
would preach to the congregation in a certain way, but then when you were with him walking down the hallways as a child, and he was this 7 foot tall,
Wow.
slender man,
Yeah.
with the kindest demeanor. And I remember him always telling me, "It's okay. It's okay."
Wow. Just to even hear those words, from
Yeah.
someone supporting you in the church. I had a similar preacher, was very tall, then also. His name was Donnie. And he used a lot of humor. He was very funny, and he made
Yeah,
the church camp so fun as a teenager. I would go, and we would have so much fun, but he was very nurturing and supportive, much like you experienced as well.
yeah. He was very, um, just like, it was kind of the, like, what I remember is, girl, do you. Be you and don't ever forget that. It was like, this is all well and good, and this is what you've been born into, but I see you. I see you,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know? Um,
And sometimes society takes us away from that with all the conditioning
yeah,
that that gets put on us as a child. And so we come away from those gifts and we tuck them in and hide them sometimes, depending on, you know, our surroundings and the adults that are in our lives, and not knowing how to handle those things that can be a little scary for a kid that doesn't understand.
yeah, but it was, I never questioned my spirit. Like, I never dove into the Bible like thumping or anything like that. I just knew that I was held, I was supported, and I was loved, and that God was like in everything. That I never questioned that.
Yeah.
Like, I had never had any doubt. I never thought of, you know, even growing up, all of the challenges and obstacles and everything that, we put labels on. Um, I never questioned my journey. Like, I just went where and did what I felt like I needed or wanted to do. And I just knew that everything was going to be okay.
That's beautiful to have that experience. I admire people like you that have that born innate ability of that to just stay in your own true essence. It's taken me now a long time to peel off all the layers of all the things that I went through to get to that true essence too, to get down to the core of the gifts. So that's a beautiful gifts that you have from early on.
As I got older, and I'll go into the backstory in a minute of all of the things that came up and that I started remembering that happened, that were, I guess, timestamps within my life, my
Mhm.
journey. Um, I got to a point when I really started waking up and remembering and asking questions and getting mad at God. Like, what the F? Like, what is going on?
Yeah,
Questioning that. Um, and getting angry.
yeah,
Once I started looking back and then started becoming aware of what was happening and why things were happening and how I was reacting to it, and what a propulsion that was.
yeah. Seeing things and so deeply feeling things. I'm sure you had lots of questions about why does these certain things happen to people or circumstances and different things, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it made me angry at what I never ever questioned. Even with everything that I went through in
Mhm.
my life, I never questioned it. I just rolled with it. I mean,
So
I
beautiful to
just did.
flow. Mhm.
Yeah, I just, like, you know what? All right, well, I was like a solution creator.
Mhm.
I created solutions out of what was going on, and you know, finally, um, when I had this last experience, it was,
Got the bird
spirit.
nature.
My my spirit said, you've been through such a arduous
Hmm.
Um,
Auspicious? Is it auspicious? Maybe?
no, it's
No.
arduous,
Arduous? Okay.
something. Yeah, I don't remember the exact word, but that's what's coming up. Um, let me make you a star.
Hmm.
It's time for you to be a star now. It's time for you to really to live. Let me show you how to live fully now without all of that stuff.
Right.
And so I remember I'd gotten this deck, and I've always felt the collective of Raphael with me. And so I bought this deck of cards,
Hmm.
and it brought up, it said something about this disease is um, going to be leaving you. There's a challenge in it, but it's going to be leaving you,
Hmm.
and it will not return. But you're going to have to go through this first. You're
Wow.
gonna
Was this before things happened?
This was before this last experience happened.
Wow.
And
It was preparing you for something.
it was, and I felt it. I felt it, and it came right on in. And it was um, I was I started drinking at probably the age 13.
Wow.
I found some
That's a
little,
pivotal time in our lives, too. They say the number 13 is
yeah,
pivotal for
this is
most of
my
us.
year of 13.
Mm.
Um, and I found some little mini bottles of liquor. And I was like, I didn't know why I was curious about them. I
Hmm.
didn't know why I was curious. I was just curious. And this was right before my parents got divorced, and me and my mom moved out. And then it just kind of went on from there. So a, I thought that I was just experimenting. It wasn't like an everyday thing, it wasn't all the time at that point
Right.
until I got into like till I was like about 17 or 18. And then I was in the clubs at 15. I left home and I was in the clubs and living a life that a 15-year-old shouldn't be living. I was dancing and drinking and smoking and the object of desire
Yeah.
every day, all the time. But I was making buku bucks. And when you were 15, 16, and 17, you're going, whoa, like I can afford my own place. I can afford my own car. I
It
can do
gives you that.
this.
It gives you that power. You think, in that experience, being able to make quick money.
Yeah. And then, as I evolved and I evolved in that field,
Hmm.
I went into modeling and did magazines and all that kind of stuff, moved out to Arizona with my mom when I was 17, 16, 17, somewhere in that area. And man, I made a life out of it and I made enough money to where I could help a guy that I had met that became a 10-year long relationship um, run nightclubs
Wow.
out of Scottsdale, Arizona. And then we opened one that I ran by myself in Austin, Texas.
Hmm.
And there was still always there that object that I was that object of, the that sexual desire,
Dire. Yes. Yes. Yes.
you know, and I think that there might have been a fear there that if I wasn't that person, that I wouldn't know um, who I was. And I
Hmm.
didn't know where that came from
Right.
until this last. because one of the questions that I got when I was in it was, do you know where you learned about sex, about
Mhm.
intercourse?
Yeah.
And
That
I,
usually sets the tone for everything when we have those experiences when we're young, too.
yeah. And so then I remembered
Hmm.
where I learned it as a very young child.
Yeah.
So um, the memory started flooding back, and I
Yeah.
saw everything
Oh,
from,
wow.
I was drinking.
Hmm.
I had almost 14 years clean,
Hmm.
and this I was like, I'm going to try like I wanted to go out. I wanted to dance. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to be
Yes.
people, and that's what I knew. That's,
Hmm.
that's, that's like, I knew how to be a sober housewife for 13 years.
Hmm.
I knew how to do that because when I got out of the detox center, um, the last time, I when I was on the bed and I like they were going to call my family in the emergency room,
Hmm.
because I was my blood was full of alcohol, and I was on my way out, and I heard this voice outside of me, and
Hmm.
it was on my right side of the bed, and it was so loud. And I don't put feminine or masculine voices on things generally, but this was a firm, like masculine sounding voice. And it
Wow.
said, "You're going to stop now, or I'm not going to let you off the table ever again."
Wow.
And I was like, dang. So when I got out of detox, I went straight to an AA meeting, and that's where I met my husband.
Hmm.
And a couple weeks later, we were dating, and then we moved in together, and then by that was in March, and then by July 4th we were married of 2012.
That went quick.
It was like boom. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we got to get you in a situation
Hmm.
where he had 2 years on me as far as clean goes,
Yeah.
sober, and um I became a housewife. I went from this life of having my daughter, going out, being my own person, to being a housewife.
Hmm.
But to go back to when I when I was going into this next drinking phase,
Hmm.
I had things come back up that I had never really given any thought to, except that's just life and that's what happens.
Hmm.
And there's where the questions started coming up. Where, how do you remember where you learned this from?
Hmm.
Do you know why you're so scared or you fear this or that?
Hmm.
And I remember when I was 2 years old, we lived next to a train track, and the house was really haunted. And I'm like, I believe all our houses are haunted with, you know,
Energy, yes, for
energy. If
sure.
you want to use that word, not haunted, but energy.
Hmm.
But we like before that, my mom had an interaction at the house that we were at before we moved to the house by the train tracks in North Carolina.
Hmm.
Um, she had an interaction with a lady that died on railroad tracks.
Oh,
And
wow.
she found out that the lady died on the railroad tracks as she was passing by the TV, and she was going downstairs to get a bottle for me.
Hmm.
And when she went downstairs to get a bottle down into, I guess what maybe it was a basement or something where they had another refrigerator, there was a lady dressed as a nun and she had
Wow.
my bottle in her hand, and she handed it, literally physically handed it to my mother. My mother took it,
Mhm.
turned around to go up the steps, turned around, and then the lady was gone.
Gone. I've heard of experiences like that before.
Yeah, so I didn't find any of this stuff out until later in life. And then we moved into this other house that was by the railroad tracks in a different part of a different county, but close to where we lived before.
Mm.
And there was something that kept trying to grab me, and like we would sleep with the windows open, and something kept trying to grab me
Mhm.
out the window. Like literally, me and my brother would get up and run out of the room and jump and get in the bed with
Like
my
try
mom.
to pull you out of the window.
Yeah, like literally
Wow.
physically yank me out of like the house window. And I was
Wow.
like, um,
The true poltergeist story.
ugh,
Wow. Very scary
so
for as a child to, you know, have
yeah,
that experience and not know what the world.
no, and my dad was different there. My dad was
Mhm.
very different there. I had a cousin that perished when he was a baby in a fire. And I
Mhm.
remember being on the couch crying, and my mom was getting me dressed up. So I didn't have a shirt on yet. And
Mhm.
I was little. I was like 3 or 4 years old, maybe
Mhm.
5. Um, and I remember my dad smacking me off the couch, telling me that I shouldn't run around without
A
a
shirt
shirt
on.
on.
Yeah.
And then I ran away after that. I literally, like, I mean, I was like maybe 3 to 5 years old. I ran away from home, and
Mhm.
a man picked me up and took me. I told him exactly how to go to my grandfather's house. I didn't know how to get to my grandfather's house, but I told him how to get to my grandfather's house.
Like you
You know,
just know you wanted to go somewhere else besides home.
yeah. And then, my dad came and found me and almost killed me. That is like the beast of of my burdens
Yeah.
in one section. That's where I learned fear. And I think
Yeah.
that like when we moved out of that house and we moved into the house that I actually grew up in until I was almost 14, before my parents divorced, there was woods out back. And so I lit like I mean, when I wasn't in school, I was in the woods.
Mhm.
I was out riding my bike, anything from being in the house.
Same. I grew up with that too. And I
Yeah.
grew up with a father that, instilled the fear and things like that too. So I'd much rather be out and about in the neighborhood with friends. And yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, yeah, he was a truck driver. So when he left home, it was so peaceful.
Yeah. My dad used to work shift work. So he would do, different shifts. And so it was kind of nice to have that space
Yeah,
when he
yeah,
had the shifts, but we had to be careful on night shift if he was sleeping during the day and not making the noise and couldn't play the in and out game or we would be in big trouble.
yeah, yeah. Um, I learned a lot about self-preservation
Mhm.
and learning, like, that was my peace, my getaway.
Mhm.
And I had a lot of friends out in the forest and in the trees, you
Mhm.
know, that just seemed to bring me solace within myself, and then when the lamps came on the road, I knew that it was time to tighten up, and to get back on my bike and ride down the road and go into my house. And
Get home before it gets dark.
yeah, and know that, all right, now I've got to be in the house with, you know, what was going on. Um, so
What?
I learned I learned a lot of fear
Mhm.
in all of that.
And
Um,
we learned how to be like many adults and raising ourselves.
yeah, because my
Um,
nurse. She worked 14, 16 hours in
Yeah.
the operating room, and we lived in Concord, and she worked in Charlotte. So it was, a 30 to 45-minute drive every day from and to and from. So
Hmm.
me and my brother were there a lot by ourselves.
Same. My brother and I were 6 years apart, and so I was kind of like the mini mom
Or
for my
Yeah.
brother since they both worked.
Yeah, my brother's older. He's 4. I mean, he was
Oh,
4 years
okay.
than
Four
I am.
years older.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so I think that set the tone for my journey,
Hmm.
um, to get out on my own as quick as I could because I was tired of feeling alone because my mom
Right.
was always working and that no fault of hers.
Hmm.
Um, and I wasn't going to be with my dad, and my brother was in college, and I had no interest in going to school.
Hmm.
Um,
Same. I didn't really care for it much more than just the social aspects of it with friends.
yeah, I got out
Me
early. I,
too.
I got my GED, and I got out early, and I went
Hmm.
and traveled with my mom and ended up in Arizona.
Wow.
And, you know, um,
I
so
was gonna say one thing I wanted to say about something my brother said to me that helped me. When I used to feel kind of, bitter that I had to grow up before my time, and I had to do all these adult things as a child. But one time he said to me, he was like, if they hadn't been the way they were, we wouldn't be the people we are today and be independent and self-sustainable as we are. Yeah, I forget exactly how he said it, but it was so pivotal. I remember him saying that, and it just like flipped the script for me and my thinking on that. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It did. It was challenging at the time, but it also benefited us as
yeah,
adults, too, to be more independent and be able to, take on more things
yeah, my
as a
brother's
child.
been in my life since then, here and there. But has carried a lot of attributes of my father, and I carry more attributes of my mother,
Hmm.
the nurturing, loving, everyone, um, and having that empathy and compassion, and then having that spiritual, that, well, no, I don't. Back then, it wasn't really spiritual for me. It was just a knowing,
Hmm.
Um,
Your intuition was
yeah,
connected,
I
so you
didn't
just had that
think
inner
that I
knowing.
was doing anything wrong or right or good or bad, or I was just living and having fun and enjoying myself
Hmm.
and you know, um, and along the way, I had trials and tribulations, and probably didn't react the way that maybe I should have, or what I was told or programmed to believe that like I should have. Maybe I should have s- spoken up sometimes when
Hmm.
I should have, when my voice should have been heard. And then sometimes maybe I should have stepped back and observed more, but I didn't know. I was a kid. I was like, this is what they're doing in college. I mean, this is like my 20s, my early 20s. I'm like, I'm at the club, I'm working, I'm bartending, I'm having fun, I'm running a nightclub.
Right. Being on this journey is as deep as I've gone with it and done the ancestral wound healing work and stuff. I feel like our epigenetics plays a
Mhm.
huge role in what our development is and those decisions that we make. It's not always our fault completely on those choices because we are ingrained with patterns of the epigenetics of our mothers before they even you know, had us, and it goes on back to your great grandmothers and grandmothers and all of that, all those patterns and things that the generations before us didn't heal, so they trickle down to each one of us. And so we pick up the things that are left over. Maybe some of the things they did heal, but then there were things that were left over, and so we carry those through the epigenetics of our, DNA. Memories are stored in our DNA, so we pick those up. I have felt my ancestors. I don't know exactly what all they went through, but I have felt the pain. I just
Yeah.
had a work done with Reiki and fascia body work on my sacral chakra, and I had a big knot in my belly button,
Oh, goodness.
and it was a huge release, like to my mother's, from my mother's womb, of the pain that her and my grandmother or whomever had gone through. And I was saying things, apologizing to them for what they'd been through, and the tears started flowing, and it was super deep, and it was a beautiful experience, to pull that out and move that along, and ever since now, my creative side of me is coming out more to help me, because doing that healing in the womb and the sacral chakra has been huge.
Yeah.
So, I like to remind people of that, of our epigenetics, the way our parents were raised, it all comes into play. And oh, hi guys. Kids
It does.
peeking through.
It it
But
it does.
it plays a big role in things, that we carry down and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Right before I went through this, I realized after like having many conversations with my mom that there was so much overlay there.
Right.
There was so much overlay that I was
Mhm.
basically reliving her life.
That's what I was feeling as you were talking about it. That's kind of what I felt coming through.
Yeah, so I disconnected
Hmm.
from that and I took that overlay off and then it was like an explosion. It was
Hmm.
really like an explosion of everything rushing back. When I had the experience, I was pulled, like my feet were glued to the ground and I was pulled up into this white and silver smoke,
Okay.
but my feet were on the ground. Like I was stretched
Okay.
straight up.
This was the NDE experience.
Hmm.
Wow.
And the smoke just went around me. And it was,
Hmm.
and I was in it
Hmm.
and I was pulled up all the way. I don't, all the way up. I just, that's like
Hmm.
the only way I can describe. Like, but my feet were like glued to the ground.
Wow.
It was like something was being pulled out of me and off of me
Hmm.
and like I guess all the I think sometimes we can when we go into our journeys we can overdo work on ourselves and not take the time to celebrate what we just go through and all of that. And I think that, there for a couple years, I really was doing some heavy duty work
Yeah.
internally and looking at my reactions and taking accountability and responsibility and
Hmm.
then noting where the overlays were and that wait a minute, this layer I identify with, this layer I can identify that layer and know that I could take those layers off
Right.
them, but still be connected to my mom in a loving, I love you, she's my mom, but not
Hmm.
not relive what, her and my ancestors lived, but honor it,
Right. Transmute that
transmute it.
pain. Yeah. And
Yeah,
sometimes we get so deep in, because I've
we can
done it
get stuck
too.
there. We can get
It's
stuck in that healing, that constant,
yes.
I've got to let go of this. I got to release that. I got to let
It
go of
gets
this.
overwhelming to continue that. And sometimes you have to
It's
just give
exhausting.
that break.
Yeah. And I was like, but I kept being like, I was like, I've got to like get through this because like my spirit was saying, I know that this is tough. And I know that but you're going to get through it. Like you're going to get out the other side. And I know it's a lot and it's cram packed. Like there was different layers each 6 months
Mm.
of our time frames. I would go into a different one, and it was like I couldn't catch a breath between them. It was like so much was coming out and so much was being let go of, and I was learning so much from spirit. It was just like, I mean,
Same.
just
I've been through some of those cycles as well. So where it's a lot.
you got somebody there trying to talk to you.
Yeah, it's a busy Saturday. I wanted to
Oh,
come outside in the fresh air. You know, I thought it would
yeah.
be really
I
great to
was
be out
thinking
here.
about doing it outside, but there's a lot of the cars coming in and out and beeping their horns at the gate and all that kind of stuff. So I said,
Yeah.
well, I'll go ahead and do it inside, but I think I may walk later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was, my journey's been like every 6 months, something like a transmutation or a transformation takes place.
A rebirth, a rebirth, a rebirth,
Yeah, it's
or
like
the death of
restored,
some
life restored,
something.
life restored, life restored. And I'm going, damn, am I a cat? It's like, do I have 9 lives? And they're like, oh, you have so many more than that. And I'm,
Right.
and so then you go into, was going into past lives, and instantaneous, simultaneous lives,
Hmm.
and going and seeing patterns in this life from those lives. I
Yes.
mean, ancient. I mean, way back. I mean, hundreds of thousands, millions of what we consider years,
Right.
and going, oh, dang. Like I knew where like the jealousy came from. I knew where this came from. I knew where that came from. I knew why I questioned this and that. Like everything just kind of came in. Everyone flipped forward
Mhm.
and they're like, now we walk with you.
Wow. Yeah. I've had those experiences too. Like 2 months ago, I experienced my past version came back through again, and the loops were just the mind running, and I all the tools, I pulled everything out, and nothing was working. And I got so frustrated. I took a spiritual bath on a full moon 2 months ago, and I begged my spirit team, and I was just like, okay, I get it. I see how far I've come. I am not her anymore. I said, I need to let her go. Thank you. I appreciate all the lessons, but I need to let her go. And I was just like adamant. Like, I was like, and I promise that I will step into my highest version and I will do my call. I will do what I'm asked to do. And like 2 days later, that loop was gone. I totally noticed it. My lens was clearer. I could see myself clearer. The gifts were coming more, the impact that I could see and everything. It just changed so much. But then my mind would try to pull her back in just because it was used to that pattern being there. And I
Yeah.
would say, no, no, no. Now I'm aware, really, really aware of that looping. And I was like, nope, we're done with that. You know, I'm
Yeah.
ready to step forward and move on into my highest version.
Yeah. I think, sometimes I do feel like that's what's been kind of happening is I get complacent and comfortable,
Mhm.
in a certain cycle.
Right.
And it's like the energy wants to move, keep moving me. And I'm like, stop, hold on. I'm finally like peaceful and I can breathe and I'm comfortable. And then it's like, nope, here you go.
Let's keep moving,
You
right? Shifting the
got
energy.
got so much to do and be. And but you got to remember to love yourself through it all and not criticize it.
Right. But I know what they're doing now because I'm really realizing that now is when you're being pushed to that and you're getting those nudges and those pulls, that's the quantum leap to take action because you close the gap on your mind talking you out of doing things and coming back to that loop. So if you get those nudges and those pulls and you follow it, then you are into action and you don't have that time to talk yourself out of it too. So I'm learning that as well.
Yeah, I'm learning action and
Yeah.
listening.
Yep.
It's like just when you when you feel that strong urge, sit with it for a second, breathe into it and go, is this something that I feel like I'm going to, is this a call of action or is this a reaction that's going to take me, you know, into back to what I call the table of the council that,
Mhm.
um, you know, that maybe self-sabotaging,
Right. That's true. That's true. You need a
you
moment
know.
in that, yeah, to think on that.
And I think, a lot of time I believe that now I can see that it wasn't that I wasn't ready to take the action and that I was actually self-sabotaging myself. It was still projections and
Hmm.
overlays
Right.
and vibrations coming through that I finally just had to like go, you know what? I'm going to surrender to this. I'm going to release resistance to this and let whatever needs to happen happen
Right.
and stop trying to control everything.
Yeah. That's the alchemization of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like why do I don't need to understand what's in front of me to be able to flow with it
Yes.
or into it or through it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I do need to see the lessons that I've learned from my life, to
Mhm.
have the discernment and awareness to recognize the cycles.
Yes. I think that that's the alchemization or transmutation of it all.
Mm.
You know,
And
as I've
some,
done a lot of mine, I've just done mine and mentally, I just go within, I hermit. I haven't done a whole lot of journaling or anything, and I wish I would have done a little bit more journaling with the emotions. I did some with my signs and synchronicities, the little magical stuff that happens when the people that I've met. But yeah, I mean, I've done all of it, just alchemizing within myself and those
yeah,
processes that you talked about, and going
yeah.
within and the lessons and the discernments and all those things, and putting yourself as the observer and just or witnessing your thought patterns and not attaching to it, you know.
Yeah, and um now it's funny because I can have some thoughts come in
Mm.
and I would start laughing in the middle of the thought. And I'll be like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm like, you know, you may be looking for a reaction.
right. Exactly. And then that's when you put yourself as the observer or the witness, you can just witness those thoughts passing through.
Yeah, and I go, just pass through
Yes.
because
Exactly.
I just laugh and I go, no, just
Right.
pass, just keep going because nah,
Yeah.
you know,
We've learned the lesson from that. We're just going to let you pass by.
yeah,
We don't need to redo that lesson.
yeah, because I don't really get into the like a constant like a shadow work, I guess they call it.
Hmm.
Um, it's not how I see it. I see things in frequency and vibration,
Hmm.
and I feel it in that way. Um, now so much, and before I would think that it was something outside of me. And
Right.
now that, I know that it's within,
Mm-hmm.
projecting outward. And the paradox of it, though, is it's the same for everybody else,
Right.
from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was able to discern, is this truly the direction I want to go in? Would this make me happy? Would this harmonize? Would this balance my being, my,
Mm-hmm.
and maintain my gratitude, for this life and everything I've learned up to this point, and for, you know, my spirit showing me and guiding me through this, and man, I'll tell you what, my guardian, who knows? Because
Yeah. I was gonna say I wanted to go back a little bit to the NDE and talk a little bit more in details with that too, because I've always been curious with people who've experienced that, being connected to the spiritual realm myself. I feel the energies when they come in and stuff like that, but I like more of the depth behind what you've experienced going in that realm of things. I know you said that you experienced the smoke and the stretching. Was there anything else that experienced in that NDE experience for yourself that you
um
can remember? Any?
I s- I remember being pulled up. I remember my feet being glued to the floor.
Hmm.
And I remember hearing, it's off, it's gone, it's done. And there was clarity.
Mm,
It
yeah.
because it was very quick. And the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital.
Hmm.
My daughter got me to the hospital, but I was very mean to my daughter before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I said things that I would never, you know,
Normally say. Yeah.
yeah, to her. And it was things that were leaving. It was leaving this energy was leaving my field.
Wow. Do you think that it was an entity of some sort that may have attached to you? Or something from an ancestral line, the going back?
I think it was many,
Many of it.
many entities.
Mm,
M- I think when I say that, I mean projections, self-critic, like our thought forms,
all the
other
patterns of
other
the
thought
mind and all
forms
of
and
that.
projections and all of that. Um, it was all of like that possession of being programmed so heavily
Right.
was being taken up and out and all,
Hmm.
and it was spinning. It was like a tornado
Okay.
made of white smoke, and
Hmm.
I was standing in the center,
It's going around you.
and it was going around me, and it was going clockwise.
Okay.
So it was spiraling me up
Hmm.
and moving me up. And I was being stretched, like I just went, like, I don't know where I went, but it was because as soon as I got there, it was like no, and then I came back down.
Yeah, because I was gonna say because it kept your feet like in the it almost feels like your feet were grounded like the earthly realm, but then yet it was still expanding you up to pull some things out. So it was that fight between staying or going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like I was up, everything came in, clarity came in, scared the crap out of me. But then I was like, oh, dang, that's what's been happening. You
Hmm.
know, it was just like that. Oh, okay. This is this is why this has been happening. It was like that.
Wow.
It was quicker than that. It was just like whoop, whoop.
Hmm.
It was so fast.
Mm.
And
Do you
then
think you went back to the source of just consciousness, like the energy, just source consciousness?
I believe I entered into the infinite mind of creation,
Okay.
got the clarity that I needed to get to move through this next cycle.
Hmm.
Because I had been stuck for so long
Yeah.
and was spinning my wheels,
Hmm.
but I had so much to process that I
Right.
taken that I hadn't really taken the time to process.
And it over probably overstimulated your body, which created a whole host of things to.
Yeah, and even like to today, I have my chiropractor has been working with me a lot as well with and acupuncture, to because I have so much stress in my neck and my jaw and my shoulders that my traps are doing more work. They're doing the work that my shoulders should be doing. So just
Oh
carrying
wow.
groceries up the stairs
Hmm.
brings TMJ pain and neck pain in the back and in the traps and in the shoulders and down the arms.
Hmm.
So we've been doing a lot of um, nerve. We've been working on the nervous system, very rapidly and thoroughly.
Yeah, this is what happens to us if we don't address our spiritual things that are going on emotionally, and then they get trapped into the body. And these are the things that can happen if we don't address that spiritual aspect and the emotions and process those through, and then
Yeah.
it can turn into the physical. It, you know, develops into the physical. Did they say medically anything that was going on
Medically,
at that time?
there was,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen until I got out of the hospital, like this part of it.
Hmm.
Um, it's like my crown opens
Hmm.
and then everything expands out.
Right.
And then I get the type, it's not, it is pain. It is. Let's call it what it is.
Hmm.
It's pain in my jaw, down the back of my neck, my traps, and into my shoulders, and it'll go down into my arms. But then all of a sudden, it will, when I tell it to expand, and I call my
Hmm.
spirit,
Hmm.
it expands out and it stops,
Okay.
and it's like breathe, breathe, breathe. I love you. You
Hmm.
know, um,
So your spirit's helping heal your physical body.
oh.
And
It is. I'm telling. It's
we got
really.
to talk about these guardians on you
I know
too.
it's really hard to put into words. I mean, that's really the only way I know to describe it is like it was like, okay, you've been here way too long,
Yeah,
so let's move into the next phase.
that makes sense.
You know,
When
you
we
got to
when
move
we
into
get
the
stuck in
next
life
phase.
and it overwhelms our system.
And that's what, with everything that had been going on, I'm in a separation with my husband, getting ready, to get divorced next year and moving to a different state. And then my daughter having her surgery, with the endometriosis and all of that. And where we were living was very not, it was very mentally chaotic.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I
tell
can
the
tell the
difference in
difference.
you. I can tell the difference in you now, for
Yes,
sure. You feel more grounded.
peaceful.
Yeah, and your color has come back and everything. Yeah, definitely something that was needed for you to get on this next leg of the journey for you. As
Yeah.
scary as it might have felt at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I was in the hospital, I just, it was, I just, I knew that it was, there were things that happened in the hospital that caused temporary trauma
Mm.
from when I got out, like door slamming, big
Oh,
heavy metal door slamming. And they would come in to your room every 10 to 12 minutes at night while you were sleeping, and
mm.
they would get like they would look at you, and so you didn't get it. So I was under extreme sleep deprivation. That's why I couldn't, like, when I got out, I couldn't talk to anyone
Yeah.
or anything. Um, because I was so sleep deprived,
Mm.
and I had gone through some more things while I was in the hospital. I was going
You're
through
still processing,
I
and
was
then just not having that peaceful time to be able to process that too.
Yeah, and I just kept calling my spirit in, and you know saying, okay, what do I do in this situation? What right now, can you I surrender into you and allow you to help me get through. And man, it would be like, okay, I would find my voice in those moments. And your mic is off.
That was probably part of the journey too, for you to find your voice in those moments too.
Yeah, and I also found that I'm a very good advocate for others.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I am on the right path. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you just had to get this
Get this gunk out of there.
skunk out of here.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell me about your guardians. I'm so curious about that too, what you experienced with that. Because you were like, whew.
yeah, because I've actually had several NDs.
Mm,
I had a car accident where I should have been gone.
yeah.
I saw a yellow frequency hovering over me while I was in the car, and they were taking me out.
Wow.
Um, so there's been several actually. And I'm like, I don't need another one. I'm like, come
Right. Like you said, you're the cat with 9 lives,
Yeah,
right?
I don't need to do this again. Okay. I'm like, I'm listening. Hands up here. I'm listening. Let's do this.
Yeah, and I think that this is why you're doing this podcast. I think that this is really going to give you that voice and push you through even more. And I'm very proud of you for
Thank
coming
you.
through that and listening to the call, as vulnerable as it can be, because I'm being called to do that too, to speak our truth and be vulnerable. But it's also for the other ones who can to see that, taking the mask off and like the hold back and all of those things to get out there and speak our truths, and be in our full true authenticity.
Yeah. And being the spirit that we are,
Hmm.
you know, um, in the physical form, be living our spirit
Hmm.
in the physical form.
Yeah, the duality of it is a balancing
It is.
act.
It is
Being,
because
yeah.
the spirit wants to be,
Hmm.
and the human, the body wants to do, the mind wants to do.
Right.
Wants to think, it wants to process, it wants to analyze, it wants to observe, and spirit wants to be. It wants to be in,
Wants to flow.
yeah, it wants to flow in every present moment.
Hmm.
So bringing that unification, um, with,
Heart and mind coherence, I think, helps us get there. I'm working through that too.
yeah,
And Both.
moving into the higher mind and connecting into the heart, and then also, the gut mind,
Hmm. True.
unifying those three brains.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
um is not a it's not an easy task, and people, and you see and you observe others walk around, and it's like, I'm not crazy. I'm not the crazy one here.
No,
I,
that's what I tell people. We're the normal ones.
I'm like, and I had to look back on my life to
Hmm.
realize that, you know what, everything that I was doing, I was flowing. I was
Hmm.
going with, until I got to a certain point, and then I started feeling those projections and those overlays and those thoughts. I mean, I could walk into a room when I didn't even know that when I walked into a room, I could read it,
Hmm. Yeah.
but my body would speak. And I was like, ooh,
Uh-huh. We feel
oh,
that.
you know, but I would still stay there and do my best to the best of my ability, not judge it. And
Hmm.
or if I did, take accountability for it and didn't know that that's what I was actually doing.
For sure. It's true. Same here.
Yeah, it's wild. So yeah, I got through the hospital with um so much to process and to go through,
Hmm.
um to kind of let it all just settle, let
Hmm.
the
Oh yeah.
overwhelm,
There's
stress.
integration definitely for sure after that experience.
Yeah, and you want it to be like that.
Hmm.
Hmm. It's like, Spirit says there's gates there for a reason. Don't dip your toe behind the gate until you're ready.
Hmm.
And it's like you need to relax and celebrate what you just went through.
Uh-huh.
And, my family's like, well, now you need to go out and get a job. Um, and this and that, starting back with immediately.
Hmm.
It wasn't like I was out of the hospital for 2 or 3 days before it
Hmm.
was like, oh, well, maybe next week you can. And I'm going, do you even get what I just went through?
Right, right. The heaviness of all of that, and then to try to jump back into things.
I'm
No.
like, get off, get off me.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you
I
need rest, you need rest, you need nourishment, and you need nurturing after something like that for sure. Body just went through a whole heck of a let go of a lifetime of stuff.
really, it was multiple. It was like multiple pieces in my field that needed to finally come together and click in.
Right.
It's not so much of really like letting it go, but it's acknowledging it, having clarity and a perspective about it, having a different perception on it, and
Mhm.
rewiring and recreating, um, rewriting. So
Rewriting your story. That's where I'm at too.
yeah, it was like it wasn't that I needed to like go, no, you get out of here, you do that. I'm not gonna think that way, I'm not gonna be that way. Um,
Mhm.
it was it really is like vibrational puzzle pieces finally coming in and clicking into place.
Mhm. You see the
Um,
whole bigger picture with it all coming through.
yeah, and I just like I saw everyone, everything, like everything in existence from beginning to end being so joyful and connected, and everything being so, and the word just okay, like everything just being okay, like everyone makes it, everything is okay, like there's no, you know, it it wasn't, there was no fear there. there
Yeah.
was there wasn't any fear there. um it was completely, um just a lookout of absolute peace
Mm-hmm.
across the world, across worlds,
Mm-hmm.
that were all connected, all of the worlds. And this is where my saying comes in: we are where love lives, worlds connect, and answers are infinite. Um,
You saw the oneness, it sounds like, in all. That is.
yeah, it was, everything is connected, but you don't lose your individualization, and you're here to live your life. You can understand and understand the the oneness of everything, but I don't have to look at you like a mirror, and you don't have to look at me like a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
But understand and understand that yes, we are all connected and we are one. Because in my perspective, in my perception, the word, if you want to use God, source, creator of all, everything, whether that's within us or outside of us,
Mm-hmm.
we're, it's discovering itself in multitudes of ways. And it's showing us not, that it's okay. Everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And to rest in that you can have peace and action and passion and desire in your life
Mm-hmm.
and still be balanced with, you know, being in a human body.
Exactly. Very much true. It's okay to just be. You're where you're meant to be at the time you're there. And that there's no rush on anything. There's no wrong way to turn,
Yeah.
and any of the
Mhm.
decisions that we make, we all put that on ourselves, with the thinking mind.
Yeah.
But in reality, we have the free will to choose. We have the peace of being there right in the moment and nothing else going on, and having that free will to choose, when you want to take that direction, you know? I'm learning that too.
Yeah, I'm now learning to really take action on, the impulse
Mhm.
okay, do I just allow the reaction to come? And it's like my spirit says, yes, be who you are,
Mhm.
be who you are, and know that there is nobody judging you. That
Right.
and if there's a perception of judgment, it's not true.
Mhm. And it's more fun to be open and play, if you have like a concise plan, you've got your blinders on and it's not allowing room for the bigger picture of other things that, your spirit team may have for you because they can see the higher thing, the best thing for you that we can't see. So it's nice to not have such a rigid plan and just be more open and navigate it when it does come through those ways, just learn to navigate when it comes, and it leaves that room for the free will, the play, the excitement, the different things that may come in that were very unexpected, more so than what you thought the plan was going to be.
Yeah, and that's where that unconditional unconditional love comes in because they don't care if you go out and smoke a cigarette or if you go have a drink. If that's the choice you make, you're loved unconditional. Or
Right.
if you're over here, if you're going to church and you're living by the Bible and you're doing, what you want to do within that, and that makes you happy and brings you joy, well then, it's unconditional is unconditional. There's
Yes.
also a paradox to it with for us, for the ones in the physical form that have conditions placed on us,
Hmm.
because, and that's temperance. And
Hmm.
that is that learning of that self mastery of to not judge oneself and to, kind of step back and take a breath and go, hey, how do I want to react to that? Do I want to see that play out? Do I want to just let it flow through? Do I, you got a choice.
That's how we can have more meaningful conversations too. If we just come at where people are unconditionally and accepting them right where they're at, even if you have a difference of your religious aspects or your political choices, just respect that in one another. And
Yeah,
then that gives us the opportunity to rise above the argument. That's where the distractions and
the
stuff
noise.
are. And we're wasting energy going back and forth about where we stand. But there's a bigger picture here for humanity, for us all to live cohesively together, to rise above that just a little bit and just honoring each other's journey. And let's talk about the bigger picture here, and
Yeah,
what do we want to do to make this world a better place for the future of our children too, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I started the podcast. I was like, I want to have conversations, not scripted conversations. I want to follow the energy and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Um, because I think that you can pick up so much in just in a conversation that is authentic, that flows, that is not
Absolutely.
forced or timed.
Or pre-planned with questions and like having,
It-
yeah, having the answers already. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, there's so many golden nuggets in a
Well,
conversation.
yeah, and storytelling has been always goes back, and has been some in traditions and stuff like that, and that's how we learn, through storytelling of like the things we've gone through in life, and someone's going to pick up a piece from that conversation and that story, and your story,
Yeah.
my story, whoever's story we share. And
Yeah.
that's how what's worked for me in community, and being able to put those pieces back together, those fractals of pieces of myself,
Mm,
and being able to come into community and connect,
yeah.
and connect with, sorry, I had a call that came in, um and be able to connect those pieces of myself back together. So this is why it's super important for humanity to stay connected. We're divided right now, and we can do more when we're together. We're more powerful when we can come together and do more things that way, and healing ourselves with
Yeah.
community, unity and community.
Yeah. I think I feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm ready to start getting like back out into life, into nature, into community, and understand how important that is. Because I've been doing this, by myself for a very long time, without spirit. I mean,
I'm
with
glad you said that, because you were the one I was thinking of. You were the one that I was.
oh, okay, here,
Okay. Got knocked off the call
always,
for a quick second, but
always
we're
good.
back. But you were the one I was thinking of, um, about community, and somebody told me to ask a certain person that was in community, because he knows all the different communities, and I saw him last night.
Oh, did
So I'm
you?
gonna reach back out to him, and I'm gonna say, hey, do you know of any areas? You're in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask him about that and see what we
yeah,
can
because I
find for
can't
you.
find anything here
Okay,
that
I will
that's in my.
keep my ears and eyes open for you, and I'll reach back out to him and ask him again, because I was trying to think of who the person it was, and now that you said that, I was like, oh, it was Hera.
Yeah, yep, 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 yep,
That's
yep. Like
awesome.
I knew where to go, like in Wilmington, in North Carolina, but here
Right.
I'm looking around and it's like this not it's all, and there's nothing wrong with this,
Mhm.
but it's all religious.
It may be for you to start a community. Sometimes when you don't find one to join, it's calling you to step up and go into leadership and create, your own community. That's what I'm finding too. So,
Yeah, I would love some help with that.
absolutely.
I would
Absolutely.
definitely
You know it.
with that, getting something started here, because when I have gone on to the places, and looked for communities, there's just like it doesn't there's nothing there, and unless it's like the piano music out on the beach.
Oh, yeah. I want to go to that sometime.
Yeah, that, but no one was talking to each other. They were all in their headphones,
Oh,
and
yeah. That's
then
true.
yeah, and so I don't know, this is a very different experience here as far
Mhm.
as that. Before I had community, and I knew where to go, and who to speak to and to be with and all of that. But here, I haven't been able to find that.
Mm.
So I'm on the look for that. Um, and or I will create my own.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you would be perfect for that. And the way that your thought process is in bringing people together in the unconditional loving way.
But I
We need
used to
more
do
of,
it in Wilmington. I used to hold circles all the time, fire circles,
yeah.
all the time, and soul like-minded groups.
Hmm.
Um, I used to do those all the time, um, and here I don't know, it's just different here. It's different here, but I have faith and trust that you know I will find my space.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Same here. I feel things are moving and shifting for me. I'm on the new frequency. So, right, rising up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to what's coming.
Hmm. I look
Um,
forward to working and doing more things with you in the future for sure.
yeah, let's see. So you're going to come back on
The 13th, I believe it
the third
is.
yeah, the 13th.
113. I've been getting that number.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh yeah, okay. So yeah,
Mhm.
on January the 13th you'll be on sharing some more of your journey,
Oh,
and
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Me
But
too.
thanks for holding the space for me today and helping me
Absolutely.
kind of get some of this out there. And it's kind of hard to do in an hour and 15
Hmm.
minutes, 20, 30 minutes. But
We can always come back to, whatever you think, if there's other things that you want to add in, of course.
well, I've been kind of interjecting some of the stuff into the conversations. So some of
Mhm.
it's been in conversations, and then Bernie's coming up on next Tuesday on the 23rd. Bernadita,
Oh,
she's
nice.
she's so she's good. She'll probably drag some stuff out of me as well.
Yeah,
So
sometimes we need that little helping hand
we've got
to
to hold the
push us through.
brothers and sisters. We've got to hold the hands of our brothers and sisters. We need
Absolutely.
each other. We need each other
Agree.
more than ever right now.
I feel that so wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been honored to be here today, and thank you
Yes,
for allowing me to hold that space for you.
thank you. I appreciate it. This was a long time coming, and it I was very hesitant. I've been hesitant for a while now to do it. So I feel good. I feel a lot better.
Yay, a
I feel
release. Yay.
yeah, yeah,
I
it feels
love
good.
it. I'm so grateful that you made it through that journey. I felt bad because our call dropped while you were going through it, but I'm so grateful. Tell your daughter I'm so grateful that she reached out and messaged me
Oh,
to let us know what was going on, like I said, and I just reached out to some others, and we did our little thing for you. So
Well, my guardians, they matched up with her, and
yeah,
and she man, she pulled it together.
that's
She
awesome.
she pulled as hard as it was for her. She pulled it together,
I'm so
and
grateful she did for you.
me too, me
Yeah,
too, because that could have been the end.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you look
Yeah.
amazing. I mean,
Well,
I can see
thank
the
you.
difference in you.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day.
I will.
And
You too.
thank you again. I appreciate this.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Well, I
Like,
will see you again soon.
absolutely, you will. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.